Hello world! Patricia, O'Connor, and Frida, Reba, Dorothy here. Oh my god, that face, that face. Alright, stop kicking the camera. What we're looking at is not much. That isn't a framed up great shot. I'm going to pan way up and take all that guy in. What we're looking at is kind of up the nose a little bit of my Literati Japanese black pine. And I have some things that I want to do to it. So at some point, I will stop kicking the table. At some point, I will kick the table that way and put the pot on the ground so that I can do the work that we're going to do to it, or that I'm going to do to it. And it's not going to be a whole lot. It's, you know, a fiver or something, right? And then after that, I think if we'll look and see if we have any straightening. I don't know of anything else I have to do after that. But one thing, what I thought I was going to do tonight was cut a small length of wire, put the tree pot on the floor on a lazy Susan or a rotating table, and wire a couple of my branches that were too small to take wire, or that have grown longer. And I think I only saw one, but I figured there might be another one once I start looking, one or two. We'll be ready in case that happens. And so to that end, there she goes with that again. I brought the tree in, and when I was bringing it in, I didn't notice it till I went to set it down. When I went to set it down, it didn't want to set even. It hadn't moved. It hadn't moved in a few months, and it had just been really happy where it was sitting in its little brownie tray next to all those little mames that are all sitting there in that akadama. So between it sitting in the akadama with all the little mames and shohin pines, its escape routes had gotten quite gnarly. So yeah, nothing too gross. I'm going to take care of it with scissors. So what I've done now is I blocked it up with a towel so that I won't be scarring it up, and I've shoved tools underneath it so that it'll sit semi-level while I rock it up on one side and cut with scissors the roots that are escaping. Now, once I've done that, like I alluded to, I'm going to push the table back and bring the pot down, and we'll readjust the shot slightly. And then I'm just going to wear a wire pad. One pad, as far as I know. No big, huge work. Okay. Frida's still here. The dog's been paid. The tree's where it belongs. I think I have enough tools to do this. I hadn't pulled off my coat from our dog walk earlier. Okay, now, sleeves are up, I'm ready. Hi Frida. Up close and personal with my babe Frida. So what I'm looking to do is remove this mass of roots that we are going to see. Ooh, easy. Now that's what the towel is for, to keep me from scratching up the pot on anything when I'm laying it on its side like this. Kind of supporting the tree. Now, I don't know that it's a great time of year to be doing root reduction, but on the other hand, we are heading off into fall and winter. So it's little. This is as a literati. I feel like it's in a shallow pot for an especially tall tree, and I sort of feel like that I wouldn't say it's underpotted, but I was glad, I was perfectly okay with this guy busting out with all those escape roots, even if they've made a mess on my bonsai table. Totally cool that it did what it needed to do. in that small pot in the heat of summer. If it, those escape routes are where it's a little hedge against whatever. And I'm absolutely fine with that. Now, hopefully, it will not need them quite as much. And it won't need them quite as much. And so we'll be okay to go without them now. All right. So that's pretty much knocked that out of the thing. Also, I believe I'm going to, all right, you see that, Frida? Straighten up my frame slightly. We're about to move that tree, but I also decided that I was going to throw a little table underneath it. You hear me doing stuff down here. It was all necessary to do this on the fly. Okay. We could do this and then bring this back around this way and collect our tree. Perfect. This is working out. This is working out. I don't have to go totally too far into frame here. Ooh, now. Okay. Now, we've got our work to do. All right. We're looking at the top. We're looking at the very top of this Literati. And I was looking at, and the bud I was looking at earlier. Well, I'm looking at them all right now. The top has not outgrown its wire. So it's good. I wondered if, I think I might have made a mistake by going that far down with it. By putting it down there. The one that it looks like I don't have hardly, I mean, I was open. I didn't see anything too obvious like I did down there. But I thought once I got it up here, we would see what we had. If we had more, we would I can take care of this in just a minute or two. This won't, probably not even a minute or two, just about. You little Frida. What you see me doing is just a little straightening observation on my end. This thing is back budding really nicely. It's got little back buds all over it. And there you go, precious. Now, what I wanted to work on is way down here out of frame. I'm going to have to bite the bullet, throw the tree back on the table, and drag the table back close. I thought that it would be I thought it would be just more down in here, and it's way down there. It's like at the shoe height, the top of my shoes. So that's just too low for me to. We're way down there. That's just too low for me to get down there this way. All right, little adjustment. Ooh. That does put all of our tools back in play, though. Well, not that they weren't, but everybody's now on the ready. You can kind of see what I mean. Okay, excuse me, Pudding. Okay. No harm, no foul, as they say. Do you see it? This guy right here needs to do something more like that, and maybe we have a few more adjustments to do. I'm gonna see how we're doing frame wise. We're a little. That baby. Oh my God, that baby. Okay. So I'm gonna go through here, make sure all of my little pads, they just kind of do this little hook. They all just kind of do this little hook, and that's the idea here. Is just to keep that flow, that flow going. And what I wish I could show you now better was the number of new buds that are coming out on this guy, and they look like they are just so nicely placed too. I don't think I want to do anything with them, like get rid of them or anything. I don't really see me cleaning out any of those. I just kind of want to make sure that all of these little guys are doing what I'd like them, what they're supposed to. That needs to do something. It's a little too small to be doing anything. This could come down a little more, get a little tighter. This could come down. Ooh, where are we? Okay. That came down. I just pulled that down a little more, and now I'm going to try to put it back up. Yeah. Little quick tip up. Now, this one. This is what we're doing here. This guy right here. And I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything too spastic here. Also can clear out a few of these little brown needles. I was told once, never get rid of all of your brown needles. I mean, these aren't brown needles; these are dead needles. I don't know if there's a difference in degrees of brown, but I was told that they still hold hormones. That the tree still kind of like uses them. Maybe uses them for like storage or something, right? So this much of this end is not quite as happening and needs to do one of those. We don't have a lot of wire to do here, but we do have some. Okay, boom, pa. And what I'm going to attempt here is just to lay one in here next to it and see how far, and see how that goes. I want to get in a position where I feel like I can get at this pretty well without having to do anything. That works really well for me. That is. It's not always that you, sometimes you feel rushed because you want to be mindful of people watching, and you want to be mindful of their time. And at that same time, you want to do your best work, your most mindful, best work. Trying to make this little hook something that I can hold on to get the wrap on here that I want like this. all these. And yeah, no, I'm only gonna have 150 million uh, needles wrapped up in this wire. But the difference being, I'm not planting it to the trunk. I'm not locking it down on that trunk. It's kind of like, liking that. You see, it's kind of got this, I don't know if you can see or not. I've kind of got it fluted right here. I've got this bud kind of fluted now. The wire isn't, I've got them on these needles, but they're not pinning them down. They're like that, fluted, like I said. Okay, that's fine. Could be a little better shape, but there's not long enough yet to do anything with. That's got a piece of wire hanging out here when we need it. It's could be used right now. When this comes down to match, that would be, well, you can do that. All right, too small, leave that alone. Looky there. So, this tree, this is Japanese black pine. I don't know how many years old it is. I bought it at a Bonsai Club auction, and I really like this little tree. I mean, I was smitten. I was smitten with this guy when I got it, and let me see. How could I give this guy what it requires in the way of? It's the Literati, obviously, Japanese black pine, probably about 3 feet tall, and I did a little change to the apex last year. I thought the apex looked really, really nice. I also thought that it might have been kind of like a commercial move because the apex was also where you see it coming out forward. It went backwards the same way with kind of a T-shaped bar branch, and it actually didn't look like a bar branch. It looked like something that was structurally here, there. One end was pointed down and the other end was pointed up, and I felt like sooner or later, I didn't cut the top of it off over its proportions. It looked good. I didn't think it was sustainable. I figured sooner or later it would do what bar branches do and create an enormous swollen inverse taper where that junction of the two branches is. And so that's where and I don't think the design suffered for that. I think we pretty much got away with that. I have been in a little bit of limbo as to what to do with the candles on this tree since I got it. I talked a little bit about that in one of the latter videos. When I got it, I had just done all the candles on my pines at home, and this was a tree that was in somebody else's garden being raised their way, and it was also, they had done really nice work keeping the tree's proportions, So I definitely felt like they knew some things about making a literati that I had, kind of yet to learn. That's too small for me to do anything with. But I could not see where they had done the candles. So I cut the candles on the thing, which would have been kind of late in the year a little bit, which would have meant that they would have grown back the smallest because it was, past the time when I had cut the candles for all of my small needle trees. And this would have been later than that. I should probably pull those. But so we went like that with those little needles all last year, and I was kind of wondering if I'd kind of socked the energy out of it or maybe made a mistake, but I could not for the life of me see where the needles had been, where the candles had been cut before me. There were no marks where that had happened. And that would have been like maybe at the most a month. So there should have been indifference had they been done. So there should have been signs to my way of thinking, but I probably won't ever really know for sure. What I do know is that I did the candles and then watched them be watched the needles come back pretty small. And then this past year, I decided because of that I'd just be cool and take a chance. And they've gotten really long. That and good feeding, and they've gotten a little biogold around there. And then, as y'all saw earlier, my allowing the roots to escape in the bottom, and that was a mixture for slide back in your favorite chair and just put on a little weight for a second. That's all I was going to do to this guy. I have had a nice time doing a little stalling on this guy. I'll probably go through and take out some of these bottom needles so that helps our presentation much. A little damage there to that one, but other than that, I've been able to keep my hands off of this one a little more than I do the tiny little ones. And it shows in a very positive way. I'm kind of sorry to say that the ones that I don't feel like I have as much to do to, they are able to stay a little bit more pristine because I'm not handling them as much. And I could probably get a little better about bringing my hands up from the bottoms instead of coming in over the top. That's probably where it got poked by something. If that brown needle reads, that half brown needle, that's where it got bent over. And what makes it so obvious is that's the only one on that level that I see that's even like that. So, also, now that I'm looking at it from the underside, I see that some of our needles towards the top are kind of yellower, and that might very well be a result of our escape roots, because I did not know those escape roots were down there and being so vigorous. They would have had an effect on the overall health of the tree if they were in that tray. And I do know that sometimes the substrate in that tray gets a little wet and stays wet for a few days. So that would have been these guys. Even when the pot gets dry, those roots down there, for which y'all saw me just cut a bunch of them off, would have been constantly overwatered. Now, not only, it's not like I wanted them, but at the same time, that was the trees growing, and that was the trees' deal, and those roots were going to be, they weren't going to dry out in between waterings. And so I might have affected that yellowing, some of the yellowing that I see, especially up higher, could be that. Or it might be just looking at them from the bottom up makes them look that way. I don't know. Either way, I would expect it to do fine through fall and winter after that little bit of that'll prune those escape roots out from under there. And that was a good thing. That was a good thing to do. And then wiring that pad. There's probably not two other pads on this tree that have. I don't think there's even one other pad on here that has. Not quite. I'm about to have a little bit more to do, but probably not this year. Probably not this year. Those guys are all tipped up, and until they get a couple of more inches of length in them or something, I might reshape them. But I believe we're probably good to go with this guy. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't already. I appreciate you sticking with this little video and watching our little shuffle. I've got a few other little brown needles I see that we can take out, but it's just this end of year stuff, you know, this little right. And I think I might go back through and pluck some of that before it goes back out, because it's right here right now. Why wouldn't I? I appreciate you. Frida appreciates you, and tomorrow we will go out on our balcony where it's bright and sunny and see what we can get into out there. I've got it's looking nice out there, and the weather's been kind of we were supposed to get another little atmospheric river. It missed us. It got everybody north of us, and I hope that they are okay. Thank you so much for watching.